it's not all about the money for me. I just want to fight the best in the world.
Yeah.
And I want to be the best in the world. So the UFC is, I'm not even looking at anything else but the UFC.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Wichita Live Podcast. I am Landon Huslick, host of the Wichita Live Podcast and curator of the Wichita Live ICT Instagram. Our guest today is Steven the Ninja Nguyen. Steven is a mixed martial arts fighter who was born and raised in Wichita with a dream of fighting in the UFC. He is part of a new breed of well-rounded MMA fighters on the come up to the big leagues. We discuss his history with martial arts, his training, and his thought process behind fighting. Steven is a humble guy with a bright future. Enjoy my conversation with Steven Nguyen. How's it going, Steven?
I'm doing good, man. Just got done training and stuff, too, myself. So
every day.
Feel good. Just got done eating. This is the best part of the day, just winding down at the end of the
Relax
night.
a little bit. It's good stuff, man. So tell the listeners a little bit about yourself that might not know who you are.
Well, first off, my name is Steven Nguyen. I was born and raised here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm a professional MMA fighter. I'm undefeated right now, and I'm on my way up to the UFC, I feel like, and it's coming very soon. And yeah, I'm just excited. And I mean, that's a pretty quick brief,
just perfect,
about myself. But
yeah, for sure.
We'll probably get more into that a little later. But
absolutely. So, what high school did you go to?
I went to Heights.
Okay, cool.
Heights. I went to Heights here. I graduated 2011.
Very cool. Okay, I'm 2011 grad as well.
Yeah.
So
Where'd you go?
Andover Central.
Andover. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I graduated from Heights, and I wrestled there.
Okay.
It was in my senior year. We won 5 state championships my senior year.
Jeez.
So it was crazy.
Oh yeah, Heights was really good.
Yeah,
my senior year.
Yeah, and we won wrestling too. So that was pretty cool to just like be a part of that. So
That's sweet, man.
yeah.
So I guess that's part of it. But what other history in martial arts do you have? You have wrestling in high school, but
Well, so I started when I was like 5 years old, man. My mom and my parents put me into karate.
okay.
And then like I did karate for a couple of years, and then I did taekwondo for a couple of years. And I've always fell in love with like anything martial arts. Like I've always watched like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, anything that has action in it, you know. I remember watching the very first UFC ever.
Really?
It was like 1993. It was like the year I was born, but like a couple years later when I was like I was like probably like 8 or 9 years old. My dad had like the old
That's
video
sweet. That's in your blood. That's cool.
Yeah, I put it in there and I saw the very, very first fight. I just remember the first fight that I saw. It was like this big old like wrestler guy, probably like 230 pounds, and there was no weight classes back then.
Right. It was just anything goes.
He fought against this guy named Royce Gracie, which is a pioneer of the sport. Now the guy was maybe like $150. You know, and I was like, "There's no way this guy's gonna get destroyed." But he used his jiu-jitsu and beat them in the first round. I was like, "Man, I'm that guy. I'm the small guy right now. I'm that guy. I need to learn this." So, I know that I've already, like I said, throughout my whole as I was growing up, it sparked my interest in fighting. Through that, just I've always had it in my blood, like I said. But transitioning into when I was like 13, 14, 15 years old, I started doing like jiu-jitsu. I started doing kickboxing. I found an MMA gym. My friend introduced me to an MMA gym, and I just remember walking in there and seeing like a boxing ring for the first time, seeing like a cage for the first time. I thought it was like the coolest thing.
Oh yeah.
And I had karate experience back then. So I walked in and I was like, I know what I'm doing, but as soon as I got hit in the face, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is completely different. But that's what got me hooked. I stayed on it. And then, my coach was like, hey, you need to wrestle in high school, get well-rounded. So I wrestled in high school. So by the time I was like 16 years old, I've been doing jiu-jitsu, wrestling, like kind of everything.
Yeah,
I didn't really grow up with – I grew up with the karate base, but I kind of grew up doing everything.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. Sure.
I grew up doing everything.
So when you were younger, did you do like competition karate, taekwondo? Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, we did like a bunch of tournaments and stuff. A bunch of taekwondo tournaments and stuff like that. We traveled around, stuff like that.
Very cool.
Did a bunch of tournaments, so.
Cool.
I was kind of already used to the competitive nature of like getting in there and competing at least.
Yeah, sure. So then, like kickboxing, when did you start incorporating that? Was that kind of around the same time?
No, kickboxing probably Like 15.
Cool.
I was 15, and the gym. I'm still with the same coach now. That's the cool thing. Yeah, the guy that first taught me, Andy Zerger. Shout out to my coach, Andy Zerger. But he's still my coach now to this day. He's taught me everything I know about kickboxing, and I started when I was 15 years old, and I did a bunch of what we call smoker fights. So smoker fights are fights that don't count on your record.
Oh, cool.
I was only 15,
Exhibition
so I couldn't.
match,
Exhibition. So I technically couldn't fight even amateur. You have to be like 17 or 18.
Okay, didn't know that.
So so I was doing these little smoker fights, stuff like that, before I even went amateur, and they were all kickboxing fights.
Cool.
So
Okay.
I definitely had a lot of kickboxing experience as well.
All right. Is it hard to go back and forth between like full out MMA to kickboxing? Like instincts kick in to want to like grapple or anything like that in kickboxing?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, the thing about me is I did kickboxing first.
Okay.
So I was already used to
yeah.
competing like that, and then MMA second, like wrestling and stuff second. So like, I mean, I know the rules, stuff like that. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much history in martial arts at all, but into my freshman year of college, so spring 2012, I worked out a little bit at La Silva. Valor now, formerly La Silva.
Okay, yeah.
And so I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu there, and so that was fun. That was a good time.
Yeah, I trained there now too with one of their head coaches, Marcio.
Yeah, so he was there. So I did it in the spring, and then I didn't do much in the summer, just busy with whatever. And then that fall, I took a class at Wichita State, and he was the professor there. He would come to campus and teach us, so that was really cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. Marcio's a good guy. He's one of my training partners, and he just had his last fight. I
saw that.
So, he's a great guy for sure. Good fighter.
Let's see here. So, you had all this different experience. Did you think you were going to be like a professional fighter, like from middle school, or was that just want to be well-rounded in fighting in general, just for fun?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I had no idea I was going to compete. I had no idea at all. Like, I just love training. And, I had my parents at first, didn't even know at all, like, that was even training.
Yeah.
So my parents are very traditional Asian parents. They don't want me to, they're my biggest fans now, don't get me wrong. But when I first started, like, they just wanted me to be in school. And, like, my dad is a pharmacist, so he's kind of like in the medical. He's like, if you get hurt, don't come to me. Like, you're not,
I told you.
Yeah, exactly. So at first, I kept it a secret. And, I did some fights, stuff like that, without them knowing, stuff like that. But after a while, I was like, I was like, I need to tell them. So I told them. They came to a fight, and it was, I think, for them, it was like the most craziest experience because they'd never seen that before. I mean, imagine going to your very first fight, seeing somebody getting punched in the face. Well, good thing I won in like 46 seconds. So that was good.
That helps.
But I think they started seeing how much work is put behind it, and that I'm not just going out there and just, I don't know, like it's kind of a new sport, MMA, so some people might think it's just human cockfighting. But these guys out here, we're athletes. We're professional athletes. There's so much more than just going out there and fighting. Like, it's a lot of hard work, and I think they saw that, so now they support me, so we're good.
Sure. It's cool, too, that you had so much, just everything growing up, because a lot of guys, I mean, the past, 10 or 15 years of UFC, it's been like you were a wrestler in college, and then you became a fighter, or you were a boxer, but you kind of had it from the get-go.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people, I'm kind of like the new generation of people these days, like kids these days that grew up just doing straight up just MMA. It's like they don't really have one solid background and just growing up doing MMA, and that's what it's all about now. And I guess that's what I'm trying to represent as well. We're the new breed out here.
Yeah.
So that's
awesome.
a new level.
So, during your amateur career, at what point did you realize like I could actually like make a living doing this or be professional? Was there like one fight, or just kind of build up over time? Yeah, so like like I said, at first I didn't even know that I was going to fight. My coach was like, you should just do a smoker fight, see how it goes. And like I said, after that first fight, I got addicted. But I went 14-1 as an amateur. I did a bunch of boxing fights, even more kickboxing fights, MMA fights, all combined together, 14-1. But I think after my first couple fights, so after high school, I moved to Florida for training. Mm-hmm. Like I was like, and I think that's when I was like, I really, really want to do this. I went to Florida and I trained at this gym called the Jungle MMA, and this guy Seth Petrozelli was there at that time. And I don't know if you know who Kimbo Slice is. Oh yeah.
But he knocked out Kimbo Slice, and and this just recently happened. So going there and I saw him, and I was kind of like, Not anymore. Me and Seth are like good friends. I was kind of starstruck. I was like, man, like that's the guy.
That's a big deal, yeah.
That's the guy that was on TV. I was only an amateur at this time. I was like 18 years old, in the gym, just looking at like, dang, this is so cool. So I did a couple fights for that gym, represented that gym. I lived in Florida for like 2 years, and I went undefeated. And like, I think I believed in myself. I knew I could do it, and I kept going with it, and here I am now. So
that's cool. That's really
kind of
cool.
just kept going with it. So
I guess, does your schedule and like how you fight right now, does that allow you to train full time, or do you have to have another job on the side? Or
like right now, I'm a trainer at Title Boxing.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Part time, and my manager Matt, he works with me. I pretty much just kind of work whenever I want.
That's cool.
Basically.
That's awesome.
And I have clients also, and I kind of just schedule them around my training schedule.
Right.
But I'm also a student at WSU. I have 1 more year.
Nice, dude.
So this is
almost
my senior
there.
year. Yeah, I'm almost there. So let's just say I'm a busy guy, but I revolve everything, even my school schedule, around my training. So
nice.
I make sure I can train full time. I train 2 to 3 times a day, and then everything else is kind of revolved around there. So it all works out. I'm busy, but it all works out.
Yeah, it's good stuff. What are you studying?
Marketing and management.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Even more well-rounded. So
yeah,
that's
just
cool.
it's only gonna help me,
Cool. So you mentioned you train at Valor. Is that the main?
No. So man, I first started training so that kickboxing coach that I train with, we're called JMTK.
Sure,
which is
I've heard of that.
Janjira Muay Thai Kickboxing, what it stands for. But as time goes, I'm not really fighting anybody from here anymore. At this point, where I'm at 5-0, I'm fighting guys only from out of town, from Florida.
You've earned that,
I'm not fighting anybody from here anymore, so I'm training everywhere. I mean,
that's cool. I guess it could be a little conflict of interest before, but now you're probably good.
But all the gyms here, they support me. Valor MMA, La Silva MMA, JMTK. I train at Tyler Boxing, Northside Boxing with Nico Hernandez, and all that. I mean, I use what I can. I use what I can around here. Army Cut, Motivational Fitness. So I pretty much train at all the premier gyms here.
That's cool.
For sure.
Very cool. So non-fight prep, just kind of in general training versus training for a fight. Like, what is the general training look like right now? Like, how do you break up the different stuff? Like, how do you balance weightlifting and kickboxing and jiu-jitsu and all that?
So for the fight, if I'm fighting somebody, like during a training camp, it's very specific because we do what we like. There's like a game plan on how to beat the guy, right? So I formulate my training schedule around that. Like, let's just say I might need to work a little bit more on the ground. So I'll be doing probably jiu-jitsu 2 to 3 times a week more than I'm doing kickboxing, stuff like that. But generally, MMA overall, like the training is different every day, which is that's why I like about MMA other than other sports, because Monday I'm doing boxing, Tuesdays wrestling, Wednesdays jiu-jitsu, and then like it keeps going on to different things throughout the week. So you're not like boxing. You're not doing the same thing every day, because then once you do boxing once a week, you're like, oh, I need more of that now, because you're doing everything different. That's the beautiful thing about MMA. But compared to now, and also the diet. The diet's the biggest thing, because I walk around like 175. I was
going to ask,
but I cut down to 145, so I cut 30 pounds.
I'm 175, 180, and I can't imagine cutting that much.
I cut 100. Yeah, I'm 175 pounds, but I cut down to 145. I'm a pretty big 145er, but so the diet is like key. I mean, training is also key. It's 50-50. But now, I'm not saying I can eat whatever I want, so I keep it pretty healthy for the most part. But I can have some cheat meals here and there. Sure. If I really want something, I'll eat it. But I'm still training every day, though.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm not just doing it just to I'm doing this to better myself, because like I said, I'm trying to move up, and I'm not trying to stay complacent. Fighting or not, I'm just training every single day, getting better. So,
do you focus a lot on weightlifting? Is there any certain time during the year or anything?
Yeah, I mean, not really certain time during the year. So right now, I'm focusing on getting bigger, stronger. I have some jiu-jitsu competitions coming up here soon, so just working on my hip strength, stuff like that. Me and my trainer Jack Miller. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Jack Miller is my trainer at.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and we're working on just getting bigger and getting stronger, but also maintaining the endurance. And so I'm not really doing like just going there doing curls or nothing like that. I'm doing like Olympic level, Olympic lifts, stuff like that, to get stronger. So there's definitely times for that. So
for the diet, do you have any special kind of diet? Do you like focus on ketogenic or intermittent fasting or anything like that, or just kind of eating healthy?
So I've been doing it for so long. Like, I do have a nutritionist, Kenny Pendigo, but I've known how to do it for because I used to wrestle, I used to cut weights.
That's true.
I kind of know what I like to eat, stuff like that, like taste wise and like what's good for me. Like I've tried a lot of different type of diets, and I kind of know what works out for me. So when my meal prep sponsor, 316 Meal Preps, like I kind of just give them I just give them like this is what I need, like a customized meal prep plan, and every single time I make weight, every single time I feel good.
That's cool.
So why change that? And like make your body feel different for a fight when every single time you've done that diet, you made weight right on the dot.
Yep.
And everything works out.
Cool. Is the weigh-in the night before, or is it the morning of? I know in like sometimes in high school wrestling it used to be like the morning of or something. But
Yeah. In high school it was the morning of, but so in MMA it's the night before or the morning before. So like now they have a new rule, just for safety of the fighters, because some guys like passed out or
kill yourself trying to
just doing too much. So we usually weigh in the morning before and then gain back on that. So like I'm 145. I'm 145 for maybe only an hour at most. As soon as I drink water, I gain like 5 pounds back.
Oh yeah.
And then I eat on the day of the fight. I'm about 165, 167.
That's unbelievable, dude. That's insane.
So I gain a lot of weight back pretty quick.
So that helps. If you can go all the way from 175, you end up, I mean, I don't know what the other fighters weigh walking around, but you probably have a little bit of advantage.
Yeah, I mean, usually, guys in the UFC, they're usually just as big as me or even a little bit smaller. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel big at this weight class for sure. My last fight was at 160.
Oh, was it really?
And I still cut 15 pounds for it, but I felt really strong there too.
Yeah. So is 145 the sweet spot for you?
I think 145 is the sweet spot. I mean, you never know. I might move up to 155, but right now
it's working.
I'm undefeated at 145. I feel good when I cut down there.
Yeah, keep it going.
I'm good.
Cool. So again, I'm not super knowledgeable with all this stuff. So I know there's a lot of organizations I've heard. I mean, there's UFC, Bellator, Pride, Strikeforce, EFC, LFA, all that stuff.
Right.
So could you explain just a little bit for people that might not know how those work? Or
so basically, like what I'm fighting out right now is Evolution Fighting Championships. It's it's Kansas's premier organization for sure, but it's more like a regional show. And basically, fighters usually work from these regional shows up to like LFA, which is like nationally televised. It's like the farming league for the UFC. Like the UFC, that's where the UFC will go to look for fights, stuff like that. And then like Pride and like Bellator is like, how do I explain this? Like let's say UFC is like Gatorade, Bellator is like Powerade. Okay, they're like competitors, but the UFC is just it's the NBA of fighting. Right. You know what I mean? So all these other organizations are big organizations, but the UFC is the main one that everybody wants to get to. I don't care about anything else, but that. So
people don't shoot for Bellator necessarily. Maybe as a stepping stone, but they want to get to the UFC.
I mean, it just depends on who you are. Some people like to say in Bellator because Bellator will still pay you good, stuff like that. But it's not all about the money for me. I just want to fight the best in the world. Yeah, and I want to be the best in the world.
I love it.
So the UFC is. I'm not even looking at anything else but the UFC. So
that's awesome. So how is Wichita for the development as a fighter? Because I know there's several other good guys. We mentioned Marcio, and he just retired. And then there's the Caveman. Yeah, I don't know him, but I've heard about him.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. Caveman. We actually just went to London to fight.
Oh, wow.
He went over there and fought Michael Venom Page. It didn't go our way, but Michael Venom Page is like the number one, like one of the number one prospects in Bellator.
Very cool.
Undefeated, like 14-0. But yeah, David Rickles, he's a monster. I mean, he was one of the first people that I looked up to that I wanted to follow his footsteps when I was like 15 years old. When I was 15 years old, I think that's when David Rickles made his first like pro fight or something like that. But I've seen him grow, and he's definitely the most known fighter, the most has the most under his belt in Wichita. So cool. He's one of my main training partners now. We have Chris Harris. I mean, honestly, anybody that I train with, we have Tyler, Alex. Anybody that I train with, we're either undefeated phenoms or the gym that I'm training at, James TK. If you want to be a professional fighter, that's the gym to go to. I mean, there's like, I love Valor. I love all my other gyms, but they kind of have their own strengths. Like Valor is really good for jiu-jitsu. Right. La Silva, really good for jiu-jitsu. They have their fighters, stuff like that. But James TK, if you want to be the best of the best, at least the most in the regional area, you're going to come train with us. So I mean, I train with all the best fighters in Wichita. Period. So
That's awesome, dude. It's cool just to hear, like, the whole city's behind you, too. Like, you can work out at all these gyms. You've got the sponsor with the food. You've got the other gym, Omnicut. Like, it's so cool. Like, everybody's working to...
And, you know, that's why I love, that's why I love about my city. Like, everybody's supporting me no matter where I go, what I do, you know? So, that gives me a lot of motivation, too, man.
Oh, yeah.
So
do you watch a lot of other fights? So, like, do you watch a lot of film of your opponent, or do you watch, like, every UFC fight when it comes on? Do you watch a lot of fights?
Yeah, I love watching fights. I mean, like I said, I was a fan of the sport first, you know? So, yeah, of course I watch all the fights, stuff like that. You know, I'm really into it. You know, I'm passionate about the sport and, like, everything. So, I definitely watch it a lot.
Cool. So, what is it like leading up to a fight? Like, what's the mindset maybe, like, a week before, a day before, and then, like, walking out? What's on your mind?
Oh man, so let's talk about like fight week.
Yeah.
I guess. So
sure.
Fight week, I'm thinking, you know, well, first off, I'm just like, by that time I've trained for like 2 to 3 months already. By the time I'm like, man, I'm so sick of training. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm done, bro. Like, I'm done with training. It's finally fight week. So I'm like excited. There's a lot of mixed emotions on fight week, man. So like, Monday, I'm just like, this is like my last hard session right here. After Monday, I'm like, all right, no more hard training. Like, everything from here on is like, just make weight. You know, make sure you don't get injured, and just like, it's all like mindset at that point. So, you know, just leading up to the fight, I'm pretty calm. Like, I usually get nervous like 2 weeks, no, not 2 weeks out, like 10 weeks out.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm like, oh, I'm not in shape right now. Like, I gotta go work out. Yeah, I watch film my opponents, stuff like that. We study them, we break them down, all that stuff. But like, as the fight gets closer, like, I can see myself gaining more and more confidence. And then by the time I walk out, man, I really don't feel it. I kind of go into like a dark place. Like, I'm not really me anymore. Like, I kind of really don't think about anything. Like, especially when my song comes on, and all that. And I have like, my coaches are yelling at me. You know, they're cussing, and like, I mean, they're just like getting me hyped up. I kind of don't really even hear them. I'm kind of just like
in the zone.
And like, I'm like in this like dark little bubble, just like looking at it was like, it's actually tunnel vision because I don't see anybody else. When one of my friends was joking around, like, because he's like, hey, you like, people give you high fives on the way out. Like, he's like, man, you didn't even give me a high five. I was like, bro, I didn't even see you. You know, like, I can't see anybody. Like, I'm so focused, and I think that's what edges me compared to some other people. I mean, everybody's different, don't get me wrong, but like, some guys go out there laughing, dancing. I can't do that. I feel like I'm just like, I'm not tense, but I'm just like, I'm so focused. I'm just ready to like kill somebody.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
You know, like, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, but you know, and then once that cage door locks, it's just like all my training, everything leads up to that point. It's just kind of like instinct. Like, I'm not even thinking. I'm kind of like, oh, I've already done this in the gym.
You put in the work.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That's how my head usually is. You know.
Cool. Do you have one song that you always walk out to?
I did for a while, but I'm starting to switch it up. A couple of my friends, Lucid and
I know him.
Lucid and my friend Plainview, they've made me a couple different songs for me to walk out to. Shout out to them. They're from Wichita too, so like, I like supporting anybody that's from Wichita, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I did have a song for a while. But.
Nice. So you're 14-1 as an amateur, 5-0 now. Is that what you said?
5-0 as in MMA. Yes.
Yeah. So what is it like to go the distance versus like finishing a fight early? Like,
oh man,
I know it's a lot different.
It's a lot different. So I've only had one decision in all my fights. It feels good to finish somebody.
Yeah.
But I learned so much more when I fight 3 rounds, and I like fighting 3 rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I like both in their different ways. I like finishing somebody quick, so I don't have any scratches on my face. I can go out, hang out with my friends, party, you know, highlight reel. But those 3-round battles, like, I'm glad I at least have one of them.
Yeah.
The one that I fought 3 rounds, I fought tough dude. I was kneeing that guy in the head, elbowing
Garrett Mueller.
Yeah,
I watched that one on YouTube. That was pretty.
It was a war, and I mean, I was beating him up, and he wasn't. You know, he kept coming back, and I learned a lot from that fight. I learned that I showed myself that I can go 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So that's about the difference. I mean, and you know, I think you learn a lot more when you go 3 rounds than just finishing somebody.
Right.
You know.
Do you have a favorite like move or kick when you're fighting? Because from that fight, some of the other fights look like you have a nice little like spinning back kick.
Yeah. That's why everybody says. I mean, that's my bread and butter. Like I said, I've literally done that since I was 5 years old.
Yeah, so that helps.
I've literally, straight, like we talked about earlier, like karate, taekwondo, I've literally done that since I was 5 years old, so that comes natural to me. Now, that's probably my bread and butter, but, I mean, as my last fight, I guess my spinning heel kick is good, too.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
So when you're preparing, you're obviously like looking for weaknesses of somebody, or you're like, all right, this fight, I'm going to try to submit them, or this fight, I'm going to try to knock them out. Is that something that goes through your mind, or you're just trying to just prepare overall?
Well, the thing about me is, yes, I have something like in my head before, like this guy I could probably knock this guy out.
Right.
Or this guy's more susceptible to like getting choked or something like that. But when I'm actually in there, that's in my back of my head, but like I'm not thinking that way. I'm thinking like I can finish this guy anywhere.
Right.
I mean, doesn't matter if he's
if he slips up anywhere, I'm going to take
anywhere.
it.
I mean, I want to be dangerous everywhere. Yes, I might think that like he's maybe more weak here or whatever, but I want to. Sometimes I like beating guys at their own game too.
Yeah.
So I just look for openings, and when I see an opening, I'm going to finish you. It doesn't matter.
How do you balance being confident versus being cocky? Because I know there's a pretty fine line, especially when, you're 5-0 and had a really good amateur career as well.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing for me is just to be humble and always know that there's so much more to learn. Yes, I'm a confident fighter and I'm outspoken, and I want to let people know I'm on my way to the UFC and I'm working to be one of the best in the world. That's my goal. But at the same time, like that's like, I'm not saying that's for show, but people like to see that.
Right.
People like to see some guy that's out there. So I understand that part, but like when I'm in the gym and stuff like that, I'm a student of the game no matter what, every single day with all my coaches, and it's all about respect. And even from my opponents, after I fight, all my opponents, we're it's all about respect. So that's how I feel about it. I don't see myself as cocky. I see myself as confident. But if it were ever to get to that point, I would know not to cross that line, I guess.
Right. And you definitely come off humble and confident rather than cocky, for sure.
Thank you.
But it definitely is important because you got to have personality for the UFC too. A lot of those guys, you can see them; they'll be talking trash up to it, exactly. But you see him after the fight, and he's over shaking their hand most of the time. And he's the respectful part.
So it's a business, we're in an entertainment business, and you have to do what you have to do to be different. You have to do what you have to do to get people to watch your fight. So I understand that part.
Oh yeah.
We're fighting. A little bit of talking, that's nothing compared to getting punched in the face. You're watching some guys fight each other. What do you expect for them to hug each other?
Exactly.
So it is what it is, and it comes with the sport.
Yep. So how far, or how do you decide like who you fight? Do you see somebody, you're like, all right, this guy's higher up in the ranks than me, I want to go challenge him, or is it just kind of you and your agent?
So it's me, my agent, and the promoter.
Yeah.
Those are the three people that work things out. They throw me some opponents. We talk about it with my manager, stuff like that. But it's usually 100% up to the promoter who I fight of that organization. But we kind of all just work together on what's the best decision for me to move up, what's the best fight, stuff like that. What's the money fight? What's a good fight? Stuff like that.
That's cool.
So,
how far ahead of time do you figure out who you're fighting? Is it like 4 months ahead, and then 3 months you start training for that? Or
sometimes like you get random offers like, like we were talking about before, like 3-4 weeks out, like, hey, you want to fight this guy? I'm like, oh, like that came out of nowhere.
Right.
But I like to, as much as I can, I like to plan my fights out. That's not going to be always the case because once you get to the UFC, you're fighting at such a high level. Sometimes you just have to take a fight. You have to be ready at all times. And I understand that. But now, as much as I can control it, I'm going to control it. So probably like 2 to 3 months out, you'll know.
Cool.
And that's when I usually start my training camp.
Do you have a line kind of drawn, like you're not taking anything? Right now that you're kind of in control of what you're doing, is there like less than 5 weeks or less than 4 weeks?
Right.
Probably not.
It just depends on the fight as well. But we were talking earlier about some stuff. But I just want to make sure at this point, at where I'm at right now, like I said, things completely change if I'm in the UFC. I'm at the highest level. I should always be ready. Yeah. But I'm preparing myself to get to the UFC. I need to be smart, and I need to pick the right fights. And I want to make sure I'm in there 100% ready to go. And not doubting that, man, I didn't have enough time to train where I could have just said, okay, so that's I like to have 9 to 12 weeks of training. Out. So
cool. So how many fights do you try to? Do you have a certain amount of fights you like to get in per year, or just whenever an opportunity presents itself?
No, like I said, as much as I can plan that out too, I do. So like, let's just say right now, like I just did a kickboxing fight right now. I haven't even planned my next fight yet necessarily. There is a fight in October, and we'll see about what happens with that. We're speculating on that one, but if that one doesn't go through, then I have these jiu-jitsu tournaments coming up. I'm in the stage where I just want to better myself, and then maybe in the spring, I'll do another fight or something like that. Yeah.
The sparring you do, like at JMTK, is that pretty? Like, how would you compare that? Let's say a fight is level 10.
Right.
What level is the sparring?
So, like, with my sparring anywhere, I go hard. So, like, the fight is a 10. I go, like, at an 8 or a 9, maybe, like, no more than once a week.
Sure.
And then, like, all the other sparring is, like, at 50%.
Right. Go hard, but be smart.
Go hard, but be smart. And then, like, all the other is pretty fairly light. I mean, we go at each other. You know, sometimes it gets competitive, and then we go at each other. But we, as professionals, can control ourselves. It's actually more dangerous to go with the beginner because those beginners, like, they might not be good, but they don't really know what they're doing. And then it's just like, just going crazy. I'm like, yo, like, calm down. You know, chill. We're not trying to knock each other's head off right now. But, I mean, the only thing I really have to say about sparring is, you know, just make sure you spar smart, you know, so.
Cool. What advice would you have for younger people that are wanting to get into fighting, whether it's just to take a class or potentially competitively?
Well, I mean, the first thing I have to say is not, like, I feel like some people are kind of maybe intimidated maybe a little bit, like, oh, like, you know, I'm just going to get beat up or, you know, like, well, the schools I train out around here at least, you know, there's all levels, beginners, intermediate. I mean, you've been to some. I mean, it was cool. It was fun, right?
It's a lot of fun.
No one was pressuring you to do anything. Like, no, it was like
it's a family. It's cool.
It's a family, and I mean, you probably wanted to actually do some more, you know, but just don't be scared. Just go into a gym. Most gyms here have like a week free trial. Try it out. All the gyms here are very nice. Valor, JMTK, especially when it comes to our gym. There's levels. We're not going to throw you with the wolves right away. But try it out, and not everybody has to be a fighter either. There's plenty of people who do it as a hobby, and I guarantee you it's good because you learn self-defense, and you learn more than just physical. You learn, like, self-discipline. You learn how to be humble. And then, if you like it, try out amateur fight, you know, and see how it goes. But my main advice is the main thing is to just do it. Like, everybody's like, what's your advice? Like, well, if you haven't done it yet, I can't really give you any advice. I can't help you on your technique right now, can I? I can't actually give you advice. My only advice is, like, how about you just show up on Monday?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Awesome. So we mentioned a little bit off recording, but what does it mean to you to represent kind of like Vietnamese culture, Asian culture, and fighting?
I think it means everything to me. And so, like, in the beginning, I wasn't thinking too much about that. It was just for more of the love of the sport. But I'm getting a lot of recognition now in Vietnam, and I actually just recently went to Florida and did a seminar for, like, the Vietnamese community, Vietnamese karate community there. They invited me out there, and there was, like, a bunch of people out there, like all the grandmasters from all over the world came, and
very cool.
I did an MMA seminar, and I mean, I feel like I'm representing my people for sure. Even though I was born here, stuff like that, I'm a Vietnamese at heart. That's where my roots are. And like I said, there's not very many Asian athletes. I mean, kind of in general, honestly. So, like, I've seen a lot of people give me a lot of motivation, you know, look up to me. Like, you know, I've seen a lot of that. So it gives me that extra push to want to even do better. So, yeah, I mean, it means everything to me. That's kind of almost like, that's one of the reasons why I'm fighting now.
Yeah.
If someone were to ask me, it used to just be like, I love it, I want to keep going with that, whatever. But now it's like, I'm doing all that, but then it's like, man, like, I'm representing a whole nation of people now, too. So
very cool. So your nickname is the Ninja. Was that self-given, or did somebody nickname you that?
Yeah,
or?
someone. Okay, so this is how that went down. So when I was training in Florida, like, all my teammates and stuff like that, they used to just call me Ninja. I was like, "What's up, Ninja?" Like, stuff like that. And, like, I didn't have a nickname. It was just like Steven Nguyen, like, you know, and, like, they just called me, like, shout out to my boy Joe, but he, like, just kept calling me that over and over. And, like, I didn't even use it at all when I was in Florida. Like, I did, like, three amateur fights there. I didn't use it at all. But, like, once I came back, and, like, it's kind of like my style though too. Like, my style is, like, you know, I do kind of crazy kicks and, like, flashy stuff like that, and I kind of move, you know, differently. So, like, you know, like, that makes sense. And, like, one of the promoters, like, what's your nickname? Like, well, you have to have a nickname. I was like, oh, I don't know. And actually, that fight, I didn't even tell him anything. And then I went, oh, man, I should have a nickname. I was like, and then I was just like, the Ninja would probably be
I like
good.
it, dude.
And
That's
I said
awesome.
that, you know, like I told my friend Joe and everybody, like, yeah, dude, that works out perfectly. So people already started calling me that, and that's kind of what gave me the idea. But I mean, that was their nickname for me.
Yeah.
Already.
That's awesome. So I was doing some research, just Googling you a little bit, found some different interviews and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I came across an audition tape for the Power Rangers. So is acting something you want to get into?
Oh my God, yeah. So me and my manager Jason, you know, there was like a casting call for the Power Rangers. I actually made it to the second round, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, but yeah. So you know, we just thought that he was like, man, you have the personality kind of for it, and like, you know, you have the moves and martial arts. Like, why not? Let's just do it for fun. So, you know, we put in an audition tape. I made it to the second round, but after that, I haven't heard anything back yet. But I mean, it was something cool for me to try.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if I made it, I make it. But like, it was just something really spontaneous, and that's funny because I did that on the week of my fight. Not this last one, but the one before that in April. He's like, you know, like you had to submit it by this amount of time. I was like, oh, it's fight week. He's like, just do it. So I did it, and you know, it was just something for experience, just something fun.
Yeah, dude, that's cool. That's really cool. And who knows? What if something did happen? That's pretty cool.
Exactly. Who knows? So
awesome. Can you tell me a little bit more about your trip to Florida recently?
So my trip in Florida, I went out there in like a couple different gyms. So I did go back to my gym where I did like all my amateur fights, the Jungle MMA, got some good rounds in there. But a couple other gyms were there, American Top Team, and just some. And then I trained out on the beach with one of my coaches out there, and it was good training. There's a lot of high level guys out there. We got some good rounds in, but the funny thing is, like, so I was there for vacation.
Yeah.
You know, I was there for vacation, so, you know, not going to lie, I was out partying late at night.
Why
I mean,
not?
not every single day, but...
Gotta enjoy it.
Yeah, I was going out, having a good time. And one of the days to train there was on Saturday. Like, that was, like, one of the premier days. It's, like, sparring day where you just put the gloves on, no technique, we go. Like, time to go. And, like, on Friday night, like, I think I got home, like, at 3 a.m. And, like, the training was, like, at 11 a.m. And I was just like, oh, my God, here we go. I was like, I might not even show up. But I got myself to show up. I was super tired. And, like, I just remember, like, the very first guy I went with, like, he just popped me real hard. I was like, I was like, okay.
Wake
like,
up.
I was like, is this what we're doing today? Like, I wasn't mad, but I was just like, okay, this is what we're doing today. And I was like, oh, dang it. So I had to turn it up and stuff. But it was good. I mean, all the guys there are legit guys. Good thing I caught a second win, or I would have been, like, throwing up or something. But I didn't throw up, which is good. But, yeah, I mean, it was great training out there, for sure.
Cool. So we're going to switch it up a little bit here. What is something you often recommend to people? It could be a Netflix show, a book, music.
Shows? Oh, my God. So no one knows about this. Well, I mean, some people do, like my close friends do, but I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan.
Okay, I love Game of Thrones.
Like, huge. Like, I probably know everything about it, honestly. I know I probably watched this all the seasons through, like, twice already.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, that's what I recommend to people. I mean, outside of fighting, like, if we're just talking about stuff, like, man, like, what shows do you watch? I'm like, oh, have you seen Game of Thrones yet? Most people have seen it.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's awesome.
It's good stuff.
It's awesome.
Do you have a morning routine? And if so, like, how did you go about developing that morning routine?
So it just depends on, like, the time period. So it's summer right now. Well, I mean, school starts in that week. So, like, it's different. It's different, especially when I'm in training camp. So I'm usually in training camp. I mean, throughout the year, like, I'm usually in training camp 2/3 of the time. I definitely have a ritual, and it's pretty long. But basically, I get up, I go to school. So I usually go to school from like 8 to 12. As soon as I'm done with that, I have a little bit of time. But before school, I'm training already. So
Sure.
I train in the morning, like, super early in the morning, go to school from like 8 to 12, have a little mini break. I might go to work, do, like, train a client or two, something like that, get my work in. And then again, I have evening training, like technique training, like jiu-jitsu, stuff like that. In the evening, by the time I'm done that, it's like 8 o'clock already. I go home, I have to study, and then I go to sleep.
And watch some Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, whatever I want to do. A little bit of time of whatever I want to do, but then it's wake up, do it again, grind it out again. So that's usually what my schedule is. Like, cool. When I'm in training camp, super busy, just going at it.
Do you have a favorite failure or any aspect of life, training, school?
I mean, probably my favorite failure in fighting is when I lost my very first fight. I'm 14-1. I lost my very first fight when I was like 5-0. Like it was like early in my career. I think I was like only like 20 or something like that. And like I was 5-0, and at that time I was cocky. At that time I was like, no one can beat me right now. I took a last minute fight on like 3 weeks notice against at a higher weight class. Like it was like 150 or 155, and like at that time I was a little bit smaller than I was now. I was like I was only cutting like 10 pounds. I was like walking on 155, so I was like barely cutting any weight. And that's when I lost my first fight. I got armbarred in the first round, and like after that fight, it like humbled me so much, and I just like, well, first of all, that fight was like so devastating to me. Now, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I lost a fight. I never lost a fight before. But after that fight, like I knew what I needed to work on, and like I kind of stayed low key for a minute and just like trained my off in working that aspect. So my wrestling wasn't good at that time. Now I'm taking everybody down. Right. But my wrestling wasn't as good at that time, and I was getting taken down, stuff like that. So I just worked on my wrestling, honestly, for like the last, and still to this day, for like the last 5-6 years. So I think that's like my biggest learning lesson for sure. Yeah. Just like, I think you learn the most when you lose a fight, because when you win a fight, you're thinking, hey, I want to fight. Everybody's so happy, and like, you don't think about it too much. You're just looking at the highlight reel, stuff like that. But when you lose a fight, you think about so much, like, what did I do wrong, everything like that. So I'm glad I lost when I'm an amateur, because now I'm undefeated as a pro, But I'm glad I had that experience, and I learned the most from that fight than any of my other fights. Right. So yeah,
very cool. What is your definition of success?
And there's definition of success. I mean, I think the main thing is if you're just happy with what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like a lot of times I've thought about this a lot of times. Like, man, like, I am getting a degree. Like, well, I don't have to be fighting right now. Like, a lot of things can happen. Like, and like I said in the very beginning, like my parents, a lot of the people around me, I've gotten asked about, like, man, like it's dangerous. Like, how long do you think your career will realistically last? Like, what if you just like end your career? Stuff like that. And it's like, I don't want to have any regrets. Yeah. Like, yes, I'm smart. I'm getting a degree, plan B. I'm securing my future, but I don't want to give it away. I never want to go in the future and be like, what if? Like, what if I I'm good. Like, I'm doing good right now. What's the point of just completely stopping? I don't want to go in the future and ask myself like, what if? So I think the main thing to being happy is doing what you love, and I feel like I'm doing what I love right now. So I'm happy. Awesome. There you go.
Good stuff.
And everything else nice will come with it, right? Yeah. Like everything else, the money, like whatever you want will come with it if you're doing something that you love and you're really passionate about and you're good at it.
Right.
So
for sure, put the work in. What's the best advice you've received or a life motto you live by? If you have one. You kind of said that, be happy, but
right. I mean, like a life motto, like, I feel like as long as you don't cheat your way out of anything, like you just put in the work. Like me, it's all about just true hard work, like straight hard work. And I know a lot of people say that, whatever, but it's true. It's if you put in the work and you work your ass off and you're really passionate about it, then you will win. Then you'll get what you want in life. So that's how I've always been looking at. Anybody who's trained with me just knows that like I'm super picky about stuff. Like if I so I allow myself some cheat meals during my training camp. But like if I even eat like one chip, I'm like, all right, I have to run 5 minutes tomorrow. Yeah. Like I'm very, very, very dedicated, and that's like my motto almost. Like that's why like when I get offered some fights like last minute, I'm just like, I have to make sure I have to be 100%. Like I said, that might not always be, because sometimes you have to take risks. Right. Sometimes you just take big risk, big reward. But if you control it, I want to make sure I'm 100% at everything. So that's why I feel like that's one reason why I am undefeated as well, because I feel like I'm very dedicated and I'm so into detail. So that's like kind of like not really my motto, but that's just kind of like what I've always lived by. Yeah. If I'm doing something, I'm going in there 100%. I'm not going to half-ass anything.
Cool. So. Cool. Do you have any habits that you've developed over the past few years, or like what's the habit that's most helped your life the last couple of years?
I already know this one all right off the bat. So like eating healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I feel you there.
I feel like that's everybody. At the very beginning of my career, just me in general, and not eating the most healthiest, but man, just when you eat good, you feel good, and you feel good, you do good. So, I think that's the biggest change for sure.
Cool.
In my last couple of years is just eating healthy.
Yeah.
So, healthy.
So I saw in one interview, I don't know if it was an actual interview, if it was written, but that you help out at a local children's hospital. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome. I just wanted, first thing, just to recognize it's awesome that you do give back to the community. That helps get behind you. And do you have any comments on that? And what you do there?
One of my sponsors, Parks Motors, they're teamed up with like that children's hospital, and it wasn't just me. It was me, David Rickles, and a couple of my teammates, and the people there. I mean, they get excited about anything, and they rarely get to see people. Like, I'm not gonna say famous people, but people that that they would like to look up to. So I brought my belt there.
That's
and,
cool.
Like, we walked in, I'm like, like as soon as I went in there, I just started yelling, and like everybody stood up. And, it's a great feeling to do that. I've always liked doing that because I've been there when I was a kid. I just remember seeing somebody that I looked up to, how happy I was. So I know that feeling. So it's good to give back and do that type of stuff. It was awesome.
That's awesome, man.
And I look forward to do more of that stuff. And for some of my fights, I want to also give a shout out to my boy Mike. He's this kid. He has Down syndrome, and I walk him out for all of my fights.
That's incredible.
And his story is awesome. So like, he's a big fan of sports, MMA, basketball, anything like that. And I guess I don't remember too clearly, but he went to East High School, and there's like this big case about like how he couldn't get like a letter jacket or something like that, and like it was, they stripped him away from the letter jacket, and it was like, like it got big, and I was like, what, like, who needs that? Just you can come walk out with me for it was my very first professional fight. Nice. There was like thousands of people.
Big deal, yeah.
And the news covered it, like cake news. Like it was really cool. I let him walk out with my shirt, and then now like Nico Hernandez, he walked out with him for his last fight. So like it's kind of been a
growing,
thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of been a thing, and we hang out outside of fighting. Like I train him, we like go out to eat, hang out, stuff like that, and I feel like it helped build him confidence too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like anytime he sees me now, he's just like when the very first time I met him, the most shy kid that I've ever seen, like just, didn't even talk to me that much. I was always talking to him, but now anytime he sees me, he's like puts his hands up and he's like, let's go. Like, in I have a vlog of my last fight, and like I'm literally standing there. He just punches me in the face and he's just like, let's go. And
I love it.
So anytime I can give back to the community, anytime I can motivate somebody else, that's what makes me a fighter as well. To make that's why I fight for as well, to like motivate and inspire other people. So
awesome.
Yeah.
What would be your favorite part of Wichita, or like a hidden gem in Wichita that a lot of people might not know about it?
I feel like I've been to a lot of different places here, but my favorite, like maybe like a favorite place.
Sure. Restaurant, like, anything.
Restaurant. Oh man, I don't know. Well, so the funny thing about me is like everybody's like, what's your favorite food? Stuff like that. I don't really have one because I eat anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, I eat healthy for the most part, but like when it's time to after my fights, when I'm done fighting, like I make it a huge deal eating like ice cream or like a burger.
You earned it.
Like the most smallest thing, like some French fries, because I haven't had it in so long. So like I like anything. I mean, I like all the restaurants here, but my favorite barbecue place is Angry Elephant Barbecue.
Okay. I don't think I've been there.
It's super. It's like a hidden place.
Yeah.
It's like kind of on the south side, but like it's just such it's like hidden all the way in the back. It's just super good barbecue.
I'll have to put that on the list.
Yeah, super good barbecue food. Super cool guys. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say that Angry Elephant.
Cool.
So.
Is there anything you wish Wichita had that it doesn't, or what would you improve about Wichita if you could?
I love my city and everything we have now, and I feel like we're growing. I feel like we're adding more stuff on, but so in the future I've been thinking about possibly moving out of here, especially whenever I get to the UFC, stuff like that. So I don't really have any suggestions on like exactly specific what we should work on, but I know what I want to do, and I think moving in the future is something I'm thinking about. So yeah.
So just a couple more. What does Wichita mean to you?
Wichita is like, so like I've lived in Florida for a couple years. I traveled a lot of different places, stuff like that. But like Wichita is always just going to be like my hometown type of thing. Like I can go out bigger cities. There's a lot of better things to do in these bigger cities, right? But like when I'm here, it's just like it's a different feeling because I'm from here. All my friends are here. My family's here. I went to school here. My teachers, stuff like that. All the local people that I've seen growing up. So Wichita is just my hometown, just where I'm from, and I can kind of never really shy away from it. Even if I like move to China or like Vietnam, like I'm always gonna have to come back to Wichita at least every year or something like that because it's just my hometown. So that means a lot to me. So yeah,
awesome. Where can people find you on social media and?
I have a Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. So they can find me on Instagram at Steven _WIN win 145.
Okay, and I'll link all those too. In
Yeah,
the show notes,
go ahead and just link all those. Yeah, so I have a Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff.
Cool.
So
Good
definitely
stuff, man.
follow me, guys. I'm always posting stuff, and yeah.
Any final comments or calls to action or anything for the community?
Not really. I appreciate you coming out here.
Yeah.
To talk to me. It was cool meeting you and talking and stuff. I don't really have much to say. Just watch out for my next fight, guys. Stay tuned, and I'll keep fighting and keeping you guys entertained.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate you coming on, and looking forward to seeing you in the UFC.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thank you to everyone who stuck it out and listened to the episode of the Wichita Life podcast. Thanks to the local Wichita band, The Caves, for use of their song. You can find links to everything we discussed in the show notes at wichitalifeict.com. Hit the subscribe button on your podcast app so you don't miss any of the interviews we have coming up. If you have any comments or recommendations for our podcast, feel free to contact us at wichitalifeict@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, hasta luego.